Come, house of Jacob, let us walk in the light. Walk in the light of the Lord.
For this week's Parsha, we jump from Leviticus, which is where we are in our normal Torah reading cycle, back to Exodus because of Passover. Today's selection comes from Parashat Kitisa, which means when you take. In today's Parsha, Exodus 33 tells us that Adonai agreed to Moses' request for his presence to go with his people. But Moses wanted more than just Adonai's presence. Moses wanted to take it one step further. Moses contended that Adonai's presence, literally Adonai's face, his face in Hebrew, it was not enough. Moses asked HaShem to show him his glory. And believe it or not, Adonai agreed. Does this tell us about the nature of our God? Is he waiting for a chance to show us his glory? If only we would ask. Let's take a look at what was going on in Moses' life around this time. Shortly before this request, Moses' brother Aaron had made a golden calf that the children of Israel were worshiping instead of worshiping Adonai. While these shenanigans were going on in the camp, Moses had been up on the mountain getting instructions from the Lord. After Moses had returned, in his frustration with the people, Moses had smashed the tablets with the 10 words or the 10 commandments on them. After that, Moses pitched the HaMoed, the tent of meeting, where Adonai would speak with Moses face to face. In our parsha, HaShem covered Moses' eyes while Moses stood in the cleft of a rock and waited for the Lord to pass by, because no one can see God's face and live. But what if Moses didn't want his eyes covered and had said to the Lord, listen, we have the tent of meeting, and I know that's where you meet with me. So since you've asked me to stand in this rock, this doesn't sound like your normal you, Lord. So it can't be you. But Moses didn't say that. He was open to something new. Because of his openness, Moses had the privilege of seeing the backside of Adonai's presence. Can God show his presence or his glory in unexpected ways? When the prophet Elisha told Naaman to wash himself 7 times in the Jordan so that his flesh would be restored and cleansed from leprosy, Naaman went away angry. His response was, I thought that he, meaning the prophet Elisha, I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the spot, and cure me of my leprosy. Naaman left in a rage. And those words, I thought that he would, almost robbed Naaman of his healing. Those words, I thought that he would, almost prevented Naaman from seeing God's glories. Thinking now of Moses' early days with the Lord, if Moses was looking for a nicely sung worship song so that he could experience God's glory, would he have walked right past the burning bush thinking it couldn't be God? I mean, the Bible does tell us that Moses thought it was strange. Exodus chapter 3 tells us Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight. Why does the bush not burn up? So what does a biblical response to Adonai's glory look like? Maybe Moses didn't quite know, because Adonai had to prompt him at the burning bush. HaShem said to Moses, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Moses responded in fear. The word tells us that Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Another time that HaShem showed his glory was when King Solomon brought the Ark of the Covenant into the newly built temple in Jerusalem. 1 King 8 tells us that the Kohanim could not stand to minister because of the glory of Adonai that appeared as a cloud and filled his house. Later on, in the year that King Uzziah died, Isaiah saw the Lord high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Isaiah responded by saying, "I am ruined. I am ruined." In these examples, we see that a biblical response to the glory of Adonai is introspection. Moses hid his face in fear. The Kohanim fell on their faces, unable to minister, and Isaiah realized that he was ruined. For those of you who know me, I'm a planner. I like to be prepared. So now, knowing that introspection is a biblical response to Hashem's glory, I can think of dozens of prayers that I would pray before I prayed, "Show me your glory, Lord," like Moses did. I would pray something like, "Abba, let my mind be open to the ways that you want to show yourself. Please remove from my thoughts any expectations I have about how your glory should appear. Let me not miss your glory, because I was looking for you to move in a way that looked different from how I expected it to look. If I feel uncomfortable with how you show your glory, let me be introspective like Moses and the Kohanim and Isaiah. Let me not hide my face in fear, but show me why I feel uncomfortable, and heal my heart so that I do not feel ruined. Abba, let me not put you into a box and say that anything that falls outside of the scope of my limited knowledge of you is not of you." Because this is what the Pharisees did. Jewish leaders were expecting you to show yourself as a mighty warrior and a political deliverer. And instead, you sent your son, Yeshua, to serve and not be served. So they missed you. Let me not think of myself as so spiritual and so redeemed that I miss your glory, Abba. In your great mercy and kindness, let us not miss you. I leave you today with this question. Do you want to see Adonai's glory? If yes, then why? If, in his kindness and compassion, Hashem were to show us his glory like Moses asked him to do, would we reject what we see because it doesn't match our expectations of how God's glory should look? We have choices, and we could show up every Shabbat ready to sing songs in a way that people expect and feel comfortable with. These songs may even be pleasing to the Lord as an acceptable sacrifice of praise. I feel like if we did this as a community, that would compare with Moses' requests for Adonai's presence to go with us. And that would be good. But can we learn from Ki Tisa and Moses not being satisfied with just Adonai's presence? Moses pushed the envelope, so to speak. He asked Adonai to show him his glory, even though the Lord had assured Moses that he would go with him wherever he went. If we as a community follow Moses' example and ask for HaShem's glory, are we prepared to let Adonai have his way with us? Are we open to ways that he might move that are unexpected and unanticipated? Next week, we will continue where we left off last week in the normal Torah reading schedule. Next week's parasha will be Shemini, which means 8th. In the meantime, Chag Pesach Sameach. Enjoy the rest of your Passover holiday.